If you've been following this channel, we've spent the last videos deliberately adding harmonics back into digital mixes. Saturation, density, glue, alignment. But once you start doing that, there's a new responsibility: protecting what you just created. In the analog days, this wasn't something we had to think about. Aliasing doesn't exist in analog systems. In digital, the moment you start generating harmonics, you also introduce the possibility of harmonic energy that doesn't belong. And the place where that becomes obvious is the very end of the chain. The limiter doesn't create the problem, it exposes it. That's why mixes can sound solid all the way through production, then suddenly feel brittle, flat, or harsh at the finish line. The harmonic structure didn't disappear, it broke down. Let me show you what that actually looks like. Here we have a sine wave at B5. No saturation, no harmonics, just the fundamental. Now I add subtle saturation. You see new harmonics forming above the source. The fifth an octave up, then the major third above that, each one progressively lower in level. Everything is clean, everything is aligned. Now let's increase the drive with no oversampling. Watch what happens. The harmonics don't just extend upward anymore, they reflect back into the audible spectrum. They hit the Nyquist limit and re-enter at frequencies that are no longer related to the source. Still lower in level, but no longer organized. That's aliasing. And even at low levels, it changes the sound dramatically. Now I turn oversampling on, those reflections disappear. The harmonic structure remains intact. The difference becomes obvious immediately. Now this example is exaggerated, but imagine multiple tracks, each with different saturators and no oversampling. You get the picture. Saturation creates harmonics by definition, and as those harmonics extend upward, they can cross the digital ceiling if they're not managed. When that happens, the energy doesn't vanish, it re-enters the spectrum in the wrong places. And once that damage is printed, it's permanent. A limiter doesn't know which harmonics are musical and which ones aren't. It doesn't judge, it simply makes everything louder. So if you hit a limiter with unprotected saturation, it doesn't smooth the sound, it magnifies whatever's already there. That's why order matters. Oversampling isn't about making things sound better, it's about preventing harm. Saturators, clippers, and final limiters are where oversampling matters most. Many other processes can safely run without it. Now, quick clarity on true peak. True peak limiting exists to prevent inter-sample overs during playback conversion. It solves a delivery problem. It does not address aliasing. Aliasing has to be handled at the point where harmonics are generated. That's what oversampling is for. Once the harmonic structure is compromised, no limiter can restore it. It can only make the results louder. So if you've been deliberately building density, glue, and alignment in your mixes, mastering isn't where you get creative, it's where you protect the work. That's the difference between a mix that survives the finish line and one that collapses right at the end. I'm P-Version, the New York mix architect. Protect your craft, protect the culture, and keep the New York sound alive.